Hello, 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 and welcome back to another episode of More Than a Party. I'm super pumped to be with you, to be here with you today. There it is. And I am um, sorry that I haven't uploaded in a couple weeks. The reason I feel like I always have a reason, but the reason for that is because I was sick. Dun dun dun. Yes, I know you all are probably like, he had the Rona. And drumroll, please, you would be correct. At least that's what the home test said and the PCR testing said. But as we know, who knows? I could have just been sick. But anyways, I was sick for about, I don't know, 12 days. It was pretty rough. It was like a cold, and then I lost my taste and smell. I got it back now, thank you Jesus. And then it turned into more flu-like symptoms, became very nauseous. A fever broke out, and I took I took a bunch of stuff. I threw the whole kitchen sink at it, as Joe Rogan would say. I might already get banned from YouTube, but I took ivermectin. I took probiotics, nauseous medicine, monoclonal antibodies. Uh, I was taking vitamin D, vitamin C, zinc, and zinc is for the taste and smell. If you didn't know, if you are still struggling with that, I would recommend you taking zinc. I'm not a doctor, just articles and other doctors who have said that. It definitely, I think, worked for me. And so, yeah, took a bunch of stuff, and I am here living another day. Thank you, Jesus. And my hypothesis stands corrected, or correct, not corrected, but correct, in that, I'm healthy, I'm young, I work out, I eat right, take care of my body, take care of my mind, and I never once lived in fear or anything like that. And, I'm fine, just like 99% of other people who have had it are fine. I don't have any pre-existing conditions. I'm not over the age of 65. And as we know, that's who COVID mostly affects, and in a negative way. But I do, of course, want to be sensitive, because I know that it definitely has had and taken a toll on many people's lives, just like I always have been. Um, of course, what I'm against, as I've spoken up before about, is all the fear mongering, the fear porn, the evil mandates, and the evil control that has been rampant and taken over so many people's lives. What I do want to talk about today, but I'm glad to be back. So what I do want to talk about today, and I've talked about this before, but the reason why I named this show what I named it is because we have been presented throughout our lives with binary choices, you know, all throughout our lives. Are you a Republican or Democrat? Are you a Trumper or not Trumper, or a Bidener or a Clintoner? Do you stand with Bush on the war, or are you against the Iraq war? Now it's, are you vaccinated or are you unvaccinated? Are you a masker? Are you an anti-masker? Are you an anti-vacciner? Do you stand with Kyle Rittenhouse, or you oppose him? Do you stand with LGBTQ plus, or do you hate them? Do you stand with transgenders, or do you want them to die? Are you a Black Lives Matter supporter, or are you a All Lives or Blue Lives Matter supporter? Do you stand with the cops, or are you against them? Should we defund the police? I mean, are you pro-choice or anti-choice? And you can go on and on and on with these false binary choices that are being presented to you. And I cannot stress enough that now more than ever, it is time for you and I to think and act and speak for ourselves. You are not a robot. You do not have to listen nor act upon what these people who think they are better than you say. They are hypocrites. They are liars. I mean, we are seeing their hypocrisy and their lies being called out upon every single day. And yet they are still able to stand before us, present their case, present their rules, their mandates, their laws, and we, like the sheep that we are, follow right along. There's no follow through. And that's what I want to focus on today. Yes, I'm on the right, and I'm a conservative libertarian for those that might be listening for the first time. So I tend to call out the left in a lot of their logic and their flawed thinking that they have. And not all of it, not all of it is flawed. There are a lot of classical liberals. There are a lot of liberals who still are of the idea that or still hold the idea that, free speech is a good thing. And the ACLU used to be of the thinking that they should protect hate speech and they defended Nazis because they wanted to defend speech. But now, of course, they are completely opposite. They think hate speech should be banned, et cetera, et cetera. Again, I think the left has a lot of flawed thinking because what they think and what they present is for the here and now, only for that specific thing that they are talking about. And if you take that logic, their sloganeering, and you apply it to a different scenario, a different case, they disagree with it. Because why? There's no follow through. And I want to make a case for you to be a nuanced thinker, to think outside of the box, to think outside of the two binary options that are being presented to you every single day to try and divide us. Guys, wake up. They are trying to divide us, and it is working. It is working, man. And it is going to continue to work until we step out of what they want us to continue to do on the lines that we are walking. Unless we are able to step away, start moving in a different direction, we will continue to be divided. We will continue to walk in the paths that are being created for us, the paths that are being generated. And if you can just imagine, and you just see a Democrat and a Republican and then a line of people just following right behind them and thinking and acting and doing as these people say. But I want to focus on where the follow through lacks in a lot of different arguments that are being presented to us, a lot of different binary choices that are being presented to us. I want to focus on where these arguments lack. Because when you are able to see beyond just one option, you are able to look and see where it is all flawed. Seriously. And it's not that hard. It's really not that hard. Does it take a little bit of work to read a different article, to read outside of Fox News and CNN? Yeah, absolutely. But you can do it. And you can see where all their arguments fall apart. Let's just take abortion, for example. I don't want to get into the details of abortion. Let's just take that slogan, my body, my choice. And some of you might already know where I'm going with this. I think that slogan is totally flawed as far as abortion is concerned, because, when a woman gets pregnant, it's no longer her body. There's a baby inside of it, et cetera, et cetera. But let's just take that slogan, my body, my choice, which has been at the forefront of these women who, not all women, 50% of women obviously disagree with abortion, probably even more. And it definitely falls on the Democrat side as well, where they disagree with abortion. But let's just take this slogan, my body, my choice, my body, my choice. Well, can I take that same slogan and apply it to vaccines? No, you can't. Well, why not? It actually really does. This slogan actually really does apply to me, though. It is my body. So it should be my choice as in regards to a vaccine and injecting a emergency authorized vaccine into my body. No, you can't say that. It can only be applied to this specific scenario. This specific cause is the only way that you can apply the my body, my choice slogan. Again, there's no follow through in that logic. Because if there were, then those same people saying my body, my choice in regards to abortion would be the exact same people saying my body, my choice in regard to the vaccine, but they are not. In fact, they are the exact opposite, where they are saying you must get the vaccine. You must get the vaccine, or else you name it. You're going to get fired. You can't go into a job or into a workplace, into a store to shop, into a restaurant to eat, because you do not hold the right credentials. Speaking of credentials, let's take another flawed slogan. Voter ID is racist. Okay. Even though I think that's such a racist thing to say, that slogan in and of itself, that you would be so condescending and so disrespectful to minorities who you think you're better than because you think that they can't get an idea. How ridiculous, how absurd, how racist of a thing to say that voter ID is racist, because you in your self-righteous and arrogance think that minorities can't get an ID. Man, that's I don't know of a more racist thing to say. If voter ID is racist, you're a jerk if you say that, man. I would say you're racist for saying that. But let's just take this slogan. Voter ID is racist. So you're saying that showing an ID to vote is a racist thing. What about showing a vaccination card to see the Matrix, to go shopping, to eat? Is that discriminatory at all? No. You see, that's for the greater good. That's for society's greater good. So no. Well, they're denying African Americans from eating at these places, from working. I mean, New York has an insane mandate, and we know that close to 50% of African Americans aren't vaccinated. So are they going to be turned away at the door for not having a vaccine? That seems pretty bad. That seems pretty awful. And I think African Americans have a pretty solid reason historically for not wanting to get a vaccine injected into them forcibly. You know, Biden's like, the vaccine rates are incredible at workplaces. Yeah, no duh. When your slogan is vaccinate or we'll terminate, yeah, no duh. Vaccination rates are going to be what you want them to be, because you're holding a gun to people's heads saying vaccinate or else you're fired and you can't provide for your family. Yeah, what do you think people are going to do when you give them a false binary choice? Well, I guess it's not false, because people are getting fired. It is true. But it's false in the sense that, you know, saying that, oh, if you don't vaccinate, then you're gonna continue to spread COVID, when we know that even if you do have the vaccine, you can still spread it and catch it. It's a false slogan that has no follow through. How about this? Men can't speak about abortion. Boom, slogan. Boom, right there. Unless, let's take the follow through, those men identify as women who are also now women who then can speak on abortion because they are women. Unless that gender fluid person wants to switch back to a man, then he cannot speak on abortion because now he is a man, unless now he's a woman. Listen, I'm not poking fun. I'm not making fun at anything. I just, again, objectively speaking, where is the follow through? Let's just walk this tightrope and see where it goes. But again, it's all about one issue alone. And that's it. You can't take my slogan and apply it to anything else. You know, the left used to be against Big Pharma. Remember when that whole EpiPen debacle was going around, and I can't remember the guy's name, but the founder, raised the prices up dramatically, and they were like, I can't believe Big Pharma would do this, and he's just selfish, and et cetera. Yeah. And now they're like, it's brought to you by Pfizer, CNN. I mean, that I'm sure a lot of you saw the clip of CNN, coming back into after the break, brought to you by Pfizer, CNN, Jake Tapper, brought to you by Pfizer, Don Lemon, brought to you by Pfizer, Chris Cuomo, RIP, brought to you by Pfizer. All these people are being sponsored by Big Pharma. The left used to be pretty adamantly against billionaires or gazillionaires, like people like Bill Gates, but now they take their health advice from Bill Gates. I mean, I don't know. Just objectively speaking, it's kind of interesting to see. Here's another issue in which the media is so adamantly trying to divide people. Kyle Rittenhouse. Immediately, the media leapt on it and said, this guy is a white supremacist, killing black people, etc. I mean, it just went in on this guy. And I'm no defender of Kyle Rittenhouse. But the dude killed 2 white men who were chasing him down, trying to kill him, and shot at another guy who tried to pull a gun on him. And actually, one of the guys that he killed was a child rapist. I'm sorry to get so graphic, but I want you to understand what the left is defending: a child rapist who anally abused children. Kyle Rittenhouse killed this man, and the left, people on the left, are giving this man nicknames, defending him. I would not be surprised if in some radical left city, they build a statue for this man and they idolize him. It's insane. It is insane to which the extent in which some of the people on the left will go to try and divide us. Are you for Kyle Rittenhouse being freed, or is he guilty, and is the system racist, and is it? Oh my gosh. Let's just let the system do its thing. I mean, in regards to that case, I mean, it was a clear act of self-defense, but the prosecution was awful. I mean, just again, objectively speaking, the guy was a joke. That joker, when he was demonstrating with the gun, broke every single gun safety rule there is known to man. I mean, and he could not get a solid argument against Kyle Rittenhouse. I mean, it was awful. The prosecution was just terrible. Again, objectively speaking, guys, what I'm saying is don't fall for the trap of trying to defend every single thing. If we're going to make it as a nation, we can't fall into 2 categories. We must be nuanced thinkers. I never defend politicians. Someone speaks ill of Trump, I'm not like, oh my gosh, how could you speak ill of Trump? I don't know the guy. I'm not some Trumper. How could you speak ill of Ben Shapiro? Do I listen to Ben Shapiro? Sure. Do I think he's wrong on some of the things that he said? Sure. And Will I defend him if I think he's right? Sure. In some issues, but it's the issues that I'm defending, not necessarily Shapiro or Ron DeSantis or Governor Abbott or Nikki Haley. You could name a, I mean, I'll defend issues, but I'm not going to get stuck on trying to die on a battlefield of defending another person. And I think that's where a lot of people fall into these categories of, I must defend this person. I must die on this battlefield of Kyle Rittenhouse. It's like, guys, sometimes humility or walking away from an argument might be the best option in winning an argument. Not falling into the trap of, this is how they divide us. I mean, it couldn't be more clear about the Kyle Rittenhouse and how they were trying to just paint that guy as like a white supremacist. And the best part is after he was done, after the trial was over, he went on Tucker Carlson. You know what he said? He said, hey, I support the Black Lives Matter movement. That's what he said. Right on, dude. You do your thing. You do your thing. But it was just so crazy how adamantly they were trying to paint this guy as a white supremacist. And if you support him, you're also a white supremacist. Jussie Smollett. Do you believe Jussie? I mean, of course, white MAGA supporters would, in the middle of the night in Chicago, in the bluest city in the world, would come out and say, this is MAGA country, and attack him for being gay and black. I mean, what a blatant lie. And yet people fell right in line saying, yes, I believe him. Didn't question it. Didn't say, can I see proof? Can I see a video? Can I? No. It must have happened because I believe this. No nuanced thinking, no thinking outside the box, no thinking for yourself. And here we are, whatever, a year later, the guy's found completely guilty on like 5 out of 6 charges. Everyone knows it's a lie. And yet there are still people who are defending him. Why? Because somewhere, sometimes, maybe this kind of thing happens. So I still believe him, even though he was found to be guilty, and it doesn't make any sense at all that he was a liar. So yeah, they fall right in line. It's crazy. Just recently, Joy Reid, Elon Musk got into it with Elizabeth Warren. And again, what I'm saying is they're creating things for us to pick and choose sides on and divide us on. Joy Reid, she's on MSNBC. I always get her and Joy Behar, I think, is on The View. They're both goofballs, respectfully. Joy Reid, Elon Musk got into it with Elizabeth Warren, called her a Karen, which is like a white derogatory name for white women going crazy and whatever, calling the manager, etc. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can look it up. But Joy Reid says Elon Musk is appropriating culture, black culture, for calling Elizabeth Warren a Karen. So she's trying to pretty much call this guy, an evil man for calling. So she created this whole scenario of why calling someone a Karen is appropriating. I mean, they will create these scenarios in their heads. And that's pretty much how you know you're in one of the greatest country, not even one of, sorry, I didn't even mean to say one of, that was just the greatest country in the world, when you have to create these scenarios of trying to paint this country as evil. I mean, it's insane. Elizabeth Warren was attacking rich people like Elon Musk when he's going to pay $11 billion in taxes this year. And she's saying he doesn't pay enough. No, you don't pay anything. You get our money. Our tax dollars pay your salary, Elizabeth Warren. How about you just stop talking? How about you just keep doing your stupid inside trading with Nancy Pelosi, getting rich off of all of that, and you just keep your mouth closed, which should be illegal, by the way. It is insane. It is insane to it, the extent to which these scenarios will try to divide us. And again, it is working. Sadly, it is working. People are falling into the trap. Are you vaxxed or unvaxxed? I mean, and this is what we're seeing all through. Are you an anti-vaxxer? Are you opposed to the science? I believe in science, so I am for the vaccine. And you must be anti-science. And you must be anti-Fauci, as Fauci said he is a science, so you're anti-Fauci as well. If you don't believe in a emergency authorized vaccine to be forcibly injected into your body, you do not care about society. It is insane. I mean, look at Kyrie Irving. He makes his stance about not getting the vaccine. Then the NBA says, well, he can't play in any games until everyone on the Nets came down with COVID. And now they're like, well, actually, yeah, you can play in away games, even though you don't have the vaccine, but you can't play here in Brooklyn because Brooklyn has such a heavy vaccine mandate. So you could just play in away games now. You see how flawed everything is? Like, they're not even following their own rules until they say it's okay. But you can't say it's okay. Only they can say it's okay. Only they can approve it. It is astounding to see the forcefulness for the vaccine. You can't send your kid to school unless they have the vaccine. You can't go shopping unless you have the vaccine. You can't work unless you have the vaccine. And if you oppose it, well, then you oppose science. Another crazy, insane sloganeering that the left is trying to push is that if you're unvaccinated and you want to go to the hospital, you should be denied healthcare. Mind blown. Again, let's just take this logic and follow it all the way through. You're saying because I made a certain health decision, now I have to go to the hospital, that I should be denied treatment. Let's again just take this scenario, this logic, and follow it all the way through. So you're saying, sir, you have lung cancer because you smoked for your whole life, and now you have sorry, you made a poor health decision, so we're going to deny you healthcare, even though what we have here could save your life. Well, it doesn't matter. You made a poor health decision, so, have fun on your deathbed. Ma'am, you ate very poorly your entire life, and now you have diabetes, and we have a ton of treatments for it. In fact, that could save your life and, encourage you to maybe lose some weight or whatever, etc. But because you made poor health decisions, in our view, we're going to deny you healthcare. Child, you were climbing up a tree and you fell off and broke your arm. That was really silly of you to do. Very poor thinking on your part. So we're going to deny you healthcare. We're not going to fix your arm. You see how this logic, when you just follow it through so simply, so easily, and you just apply it to different scenarios, all of a sudden this argument is just like, oh yeah, well, we shouldn't deny that. In fact, any doctor that denies treatment for unvaccinated people should lose their license. In fact, I think so many doctors should lose their license because of all the willful withholding of good treatments outside of the vaccine. Are you a masker or anti-maxer? Masker? Sir, you're not allowed into the establishment because we can see your full face, and all we want to see are your eyes to virtue signal to us that you care. That you care. In fact, if you wear 3 masks, we'll know you really care. how self-righteous and arrogant do you have to make, or do you have to be to make these kind of comments on the left? And if it's coming from the right, I would love to see people on the right who are saying this as well. Sir, you're not allowed to shop in here because you're not one of us. You're not vaccinated. Sounds a lot like the 1950s. Sir, you can't shop in here because you don't have the same color of our skin. So much discriminating right now. It's insane. It is insane. And it's only becoming harder. It's only getting worse because people are falling into the trap. New Omicron variant. Yes, shout out Matt Walsh for calling it Omicron. You know, Joe Biden puts a travel ban on 8 countries from Africa. And is that not xenophobic for him doing that? Because when Trump did it, it was the worst thing in the world. I mean, Biden came out and was like, this guy's so racist for banning travel from China. I mean, et cetera. I mean, it went in, but when he does it, well, you know, not a big deal. But they're not testing illegals coming across the country on the southern border. They don't really care. It's all about virtue signaling. It's all about, well, we only apply it to this scenario, but not this scenario, and this scenario, but not this scenario, because again, there's no follow through on the left with their sloganeering. We must bring it to a close. We must find common ground. We must. If we don't, we will not survive as a country. And before I bring it to a close, I actually want to show a video. I hope I haven't done this before, but I want to show a video. And I thought this video was pretty funny. It's of Jim Brewer. And the caption is, well, the subtweet is a Roman concept where the government can do anything as long as you give the people bread and circuses, in quotation marks. And I'd say this culture right now is similar. As long as people have money, fun, and food, our government can do heinous things. And this is a video of a guy named Jim Brewer. I don't know who he is, but I watched it. I guess he's probably a comedian, but it's 2 minutes long. And if you're watching, I encourage you, or if you're listening, I encourage you to maybe go to my YouTube channel and watch it. And let's see.
Hanging out here, I got shows in Omaha, Nebraska tonight, tomorrow night. And are you enjoying the great distraction circus? Are you?
The Great Distraction Circus. I love that. I love that.
Wow, what a show. Let's talk about this Rittenhouse kid today. Well, clearly he's an American hero. What are you, some kind of animal? He murdered people. Yeah, no, it was in self-defense. Self-defense, you shouldn't have been there anyway. What's a 16-year-old? Well, he was trying to defend some real people. Did you see the people he actually killed? They were monsters. I haven't never. If anything, I think we should take guns away. If anything, I think he's the right reason why we need more guns. Sire, our plans working geniusly as it has for centuries. They just keep dividing and we keep conquering as they're more distracting. Oh, Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is a liar. How dare he lie? Why can't your teammates get vaccinated? I think it's actually a choice. You should have a choice if you want to do it. The double choice or needs of other people, of course. Oh, please, give me enough of that kind. Saying that Aaron Rodgers shouldn't be taking horse pills and taking advice from Joe Rogan is not a doctor. It's misinformation, and my information is the information. The great divide and conquer, sire. They will never fight. After that, what do working for centuries, or are they starting to catch on? Will unite eventually.
I love it. I love that video. Because it's so true, man. It's just a circus. It's just people falling right into the trap of trying to defend people that they do not know, arguing with people that over what? Losing friendships over what? You know what made the World War II veterans, men and women, the greatest generation? Although there were awful segregation during that time, don't get me wrong, was because these men united under a common cause. Blacks, Asians, whites, all united under a common cause, and that was to defend the United States of America and to avenge what happened in Pearl Harbor. They set their differences aside and found common ground, and that is what has made this country the greatest nation to have ever done it. Where is our common ground? Where is it? As long as we continue to fall into the traps that the media and politicians are laying out for us to fall in, we will continue to be divided. Are you for this or are you against this? It's a clown show. It's a circus. What is going to bring us together? Turn off CNN. My encouragement, turn off CNN, turn off Fox News. Turn it off. Turn off Daily Wire. Turn off the Young Turks. Get these outside influences out of your head and just pick up a book and read, or read a news article. As long as we are controlled by fear, those in power will see it and they will continue to take advantage of it without a second thought. You know, Joe Manchin is in the headlines a lot, as if he's the only one standing against the Build Back Better bill, when in reality, he's 51. That's a majority. But again, they're painting it into a binary. Well, it's Joe Manchin against the world. No, it's 51 senators against 49. I actually haven't looked at what Kyrsten Sinema is right now. I don't know if she folded or what, but she might not even be in the headlines because Joe Manchin already said it. But or 48, maybe it's 52 against. Well, no, it's Joe Manchin. He's holding up democracy. No, you don't understand anything if you think that. It's 51 senators who are standing against the Build Back. And Ilhan Omar, the great genius of our time. Oh my gosh, terrible. Married to like her brother and her husband and stealing money all over the place. And she's just an anti-Semite and everyone, you know, still loves her, which is insane. Tweeted out something as if she has any idea what West Virginians need. Like West Virginians need to be pandered to or be given free money because, you know, we struggle in certain areas. She could keep her ideas about what she thinks West Virginia needs to herself, because she has no idea what West Virginians, or really what Middle America needs. She is an immigrant that came over to the greatest country and has taken advantage of everything that America, the United States, has to offer, and yet continues to condemn anyone that thinks traditionally and stands for the principles in which she has taken advantage of. And yet she's elected and will probably get elected again. It's a clown show that people in her are in office. people that think the way she thinks, wanting to destroy the same government that has given her the opportunities in which she holds today. And then we'll hate on people who think differently than her. AOC is the same. Nancy Pelosi is the same. You know what West Virginia needs? It needs some competent leadership. That's what it needs. It needs Jim Justice actually standing for the rights and against the mandates of the American people for the West Virginia people. You know what? You know what could really bring jobs and get West Virginia out of maybe the slump that it's in right now? You know what could do that? How about some tax breaks? How about you, Jim Justice, incentivize businesses to come to West Virginia and remain in West Virginia? How about you say, hey, here's a novel idea. How about you say, hey, Amazon, since AOC doesn't want you in the great state of New York, you can come to West Virginia. And in fact, if you come to West Virginia, we'll give you a tax break for 5 years, and we'll just tax the people that are working there, the 13,000 people that are now employed by Amazon warehouse. We'll just tax them, and the government will still be getting money. We'll give you a 5-year, 3-year tax break. Oh my gosh. No, you can't do that because you have to tax corporations Why? So you could just tax them and then give free money to people so you can remain in control of them? How about Jim Justice? How about you just cut off unemployment so people go back to work? That's what will bring back jobs to West Virginia. Stop making it easier for people to get on drugs. Start prosecuting doctors who are giving over-the-counter drugs to people who don't need them. Taking advantage of the system. We need to incentivize young people to remain here. And the only way to do that is to be able to give them hope and opportunity. You want to build back better West Virginia? It's not going to be by pandering and insulting the great people here by saying, oh, it's okay, mijo, we'll just give you free money and the government will take care of you. No, forget that. We have dignity here. Thank God we have a different culture and different values than every other state that is blue in the union. Thank God we have different values and culture than California and New York and Michigan and Illinois. Thank God. Am I saying we're better? No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you have your values and you stay over there with whatever you want to think, and we'll stay in our lane. You don't worry about us. You know who needs to worry about us? Our leadership that is in the state of West Virginia right now. And Joe Manchin is doing a good job because he understands that for us to get out of the slump that we are in, it is not going to be by everyone staying home on unemployment, getting back to Build Back Better, whatever it is, everything that it entails. And if you pretend to understand it, you're lying to yourself. And if you're listening to AOC and Ilhan Omar, who pretend that they understand it, they're lying to you. It's like 3,000, maybe 5,000 pages long. No one's read the whole thing. Nancy Pelosi hasn't read it. That's for sure. You want people to have a fulfilled life, you have to give them purpose. My purpose doesn't come from my job. I'm a Christian, so it comes from something else. It comes from Jesus. But what about people that don't believe? That's fine. We can all live harmoniously together. That's what makes this nation great. A job gives people purpose. And when you strip that away, they look for it in something else. And many times it can be drugs because they get depressed, whatever it might be. But if you give that purpose back, and if you create a purpose for them, it will change the state that we are in, the state of mind that we are in. But if you want to keep people down, then you will continue to pander to them and lie to them and say that they're not worth anything unless the government says they are worth something. West Virginia is one of the most beautiful places I've ever lived. I was born in Santa Monica. I visit there all the time. Salt Lake City is definitely beautiful. Park City is gorgeous. I definitely think West Virginia is a little bit more beautiful and scenic than Tucson, but hey, I still love Tucson. Got a lot of love for it. West Virginia could be the hub, but it's going to take competency at the highest level. Not people continuing to fight about what they think, Kyle Rittenhouse would be guilty. What they think, oh, this and that. No, let's think outside of the box. Let's be objective here. What will actually work? Well, Aaron, we can't give tax breaks to corporations because I'm a Democrat. Well, Aaron, we can't do this and that because, I'm a Republican. And we can't cut spending because, okay, something's got to give. Something's got to change. And the only way to do that is for you to take a little humility pill and say, hey, this might be a Democrat talking point, but I like the way that this sounds. This might be a Republican talking point, but I like the way this sounds. And there you go. You've worked together. Bernie Sanders put out a tweet saying Kellogg shouldn't outsource their jobs to Mexico. I agree with that. I don't think they should either. I'm more of a nationalist when it comes to that type of mindset. There are things that we can find common ground in. But if you just continue to fall right into the corners, right into the lines that they are leading you in, we won't come together. Where is our common ground at? I think our common ground is this nation being the greatest nation to ever do it. The Constitution being the greatest living, breathing document to ever do it, to ever be written. Our nation is filled with horrific things that has taken place in it. But we have been aspiring and accomplishing and meeting those expectations that were written out in the Declaration of Independence, in the Constitution, since the founding of time till now. We are growing. We're still a young nation, relatively speaking. Are we perfect? No. Are there problems? Sure. Where's our common ground? It's this nation. You're an American. You're a Californian. You're a New Yorker, whatever. You're a West Virginian. That's our common ground, is that we all inhabit the great nation that we are in. And we must find common ground. We must be united or we will fall apart. Stop falling for the lies. Stop wanting to be pandered to and given free stuff. Work for it. Work hard. Fight for it. Get out of the victim mentality. I don't care who you are. Nothing in life is free. You got to fight for it, man. Our common ground must be that we are Americans and the greatest nation to ever do it. Our freedom, our values are what will hold us together today. But we must come together, not be divided, stop falling for the trap, stop falling for the lies, and we can see success. We can. But it's got to take you and I, individuals, standing against it. The lies that are being perpetuated to us every day by the media and by politicians. All right. That's all I got for you today. Thank you for listening. I will see you next week.